Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar. It's the What's New in Pano2VR 7.1. I'm Martin from support and I will be joined today by...
Hi there, I'm Karen in the background. I'll be helping with your questions.
Thank you very much, Karen. Right, okay everyone. As I said, this is the What's New in Pano2VR 7.1. This is the beta 1 and it is packed full of a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to dive in and do some. Obviously, there's loads here. We can't cover everything today, but we're just going to dive in on some of the on some of the more, should we say, highlighted features. So the first feature I've got on my list that I want to show is the Morph Transitions. So if we just create an output with this project. There it is. This should be using the standard transition. We had zoom in or crossfade. Okay. Now what we can do is if we click on the output and under transitions, you can see we now have this new one called Morph, and that's exactly what it does. So if we just create the output again, he says, and now just give that a refresh, and now when we click, we get this morphing effect. Now, this looks really cool, but there are some little tricks to make it look even better. The first little trick really is if we go to the hotspot, use forward. We found that, or I found anyway, at least this is a little tip from me, that you know if you use the forward, you get this sense of forward motion. Now I was speaking to Thomas and he was saying that the morphing follows the point hotspot, which is like has a really cool effect. And the really cool effect is if you move the hotspot, so let's get back to the outside, and if we moved it up here, all right, I'll just save the project and we should get a live update. Boom, there it is. Refresh, and the hotspot's going to be up here. So now what's going to happen is if we look upwards and click the hotspot, we get this sense of moving up with it. So this is going to be great if you're at a bottom of a stairs and you've got like the first floor and you've got a hotspot on that. So as you're walking along, you can then start to move up and get that sense of moving in the direction the hotspot's pointing. So that's a really cool feature. So let's just put that back and save. Now with the transition, we have the transition time. So we had this before. Here we've got it set for 1 second. You might find that you like it at 1.5 seconds. Obviously the longer that you set it for, the longer it will take. So there's an example. If I set it for 2, save the project, let it update, I'll just refresh the window, you'll see that it's now taking a lot longer to get through. So that's basically the settings. There isn't a lot to set here, but then that's the point. You know, you don't, it's to take the process and the work from you guys. You just like set morph, and it obviously works with target view as well. But yeah, to keep that forward motion going, then it's really nice to, yeah, there we go. Look at that. That's really sweet. So yeah, that's the Morph Transitions. Okay, now I'm going to jump onto something else. Something else that it's actually been in Pano2VR for a while, but it's now working wonderfully. And I'm going to change tours just to show you this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up right now, because it's part of transitions, and well, actually that's nothing to do with transitions, but it's a cool feature when you're building a tour. And this is to do with the target view on the thumbnail. Now I will dip into the skin later on and I'll show you where to set this, but basically what's happening now is that when we hover over a point hotspot, you'll see that we get a preview image. I'll just wait for my little cursor to disappear. Here it goes. And you can see we've got a preview image there of a corridor. And when I click this, we do get that corridor. Now, what used to happen before with preview images is you had one preview image per node. Now, you saw I was outside. I've gone to node 2 and we saw the corridor. I'm now going to go to node 3. But look what happens when I spin round and come back to node 2. Wow, I'm now seeing the target view for that hotspot. So you now see exactly the view that you're going to see as you're going through the tour. And I just think that's so understated. That was just like oh yeah, we've done this. And I just think, wow, because when you're building a tour, this is just polish, absolute gold, I think. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this as an individual. And yeah, so hat off to the guys for doing this. You can see that we're going to be looking at the doors for the shop. There it is. We're now looking at the outside, and it's just so much polish. Anyway, that was just me sort of working with that with the morph transition. I just thought those two combined, yeah, does a lot of polish for the tour. Okay, the next thing which we've highlighted is the generative fill or the generative patches. Now I do have a couple of projects to show you about this, or to show you about patches. The first one is, this is more of a show and tell rather than a do. The next project will be a do, but this is just to show you what it did for me. This was a shop. We were in the Isle of Man. This is things called the Laxey Wheel, and then there was me and the wife standing right next to it. If I remove the patch, there we are. So all I did was use the generative patch, said, right, patch us out. It added the patch, and boom, we were gone. So there was no Photoshop, there was no nothing. It was instant. That's what it produced. And that was actually quite impressive. Now, I've got a project here that I'm going to show with the patches, because I want to show a couple of things. First, I want to show obviously it working. Secondly, I want to show stacking the patches. Now, generative patches, they are going to be obviously how it sort of works, and I'm looking at the teletype to make sure that I've got this right, and if I've got it wrong, Thomas, please, or anyone in the team, please jump in. But how this is going to work is everyone's going to get in their account, we're giving everyone 250 tokens, all right? And every time you use a patch, a generative patch, we obviously get charged by the AI company that does it all. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail because everyone's going to get free 250 tokens when they get 7.1. But when you've used all those up, you will need to purchase tokens to top that up. It depends if you find it useful enough. I've actually found it quite good. So that was just a little bit about that. I don't want to harper too much on that. It's not a subscription or anything like that. Is you just purchase tokens as and when you want to use it. Okay, so why am I showing this project? Well, this project has a couple of things going on. We've got a shadow and we've got a big hole in the bottom. So how can we use the patch tool to do this? Because what we want to do is stack patches. So basically what we're going to do is go into the viewer, select patch, and the first thing I want to patch out is this tripod. So I'm going to double click to add a patch. Now the patch is different in Pano2VR 7.1. You'll see we've got a blue outer and a green inner ring. Now basically what happens here is that the blue outer bit is where the generative AI patch is getting its context, what to put in the middle, and the green area is what it's actually going to patch. I think that's the easiest way to describe this. Now as a default, if I cursor up, well, let's open up Pano2VR a bit. If I have a look at the panel, the patch panel, you'll see that we've got this new thing called mask. Now I've got mask type set to none. So as a default, we put a square patch in with, I think it's a 75% patch area, okay? But we can select a circle or a rectangle. But when we select, say, let's select a circle. I mean, I've already got a circle there, so why would I want to select it? But if we select it, you'll see that we can now adjust the size of the area that we're actually going to patch, and this is the area that we're going to sample to send to the AI to try and match it. Okay, so I'm going to go to rectangle because this is a rectangular thing that we're going to patch out. So I want to try and get this as snug to it as humanly possible without going over the edges. So that's there and there. Come down a little bit there. I could have made this a little bit bigger, but let's just see how this works. So basically what I've got here is this outer area where we're going to sample or get the context of the patch, and I could just click the generate button first. So what we'll do is click and hold, and you can generate with settings. But I'm getting the message here, move to the bottom, move to the bottom. Don't quite understand that. So okay, all right, well, I'm gonna put it there, and so just move that to there. Right, okay. Right, okay, so that's I think that's what what Thomas was talking about. Okay, so yep, so basically this is the area that I'm going to patch. I don't really want any of this black in there. Okay, so if I now just click and hold the generate, I can generate with settings. Okay, so you'll see that the little pop-up box comes up here, generate patch, blah blah blah. So okay, and you're not logged in, so I'm going to have to log into my for my Gnome account, which I've now done, and basically, oh, I'm going to go down on that. Right, okay, so yes, so I'm going to get this right. It's all right. I'm also reading what Thomas is sending to me, saying to do this, to actually get this right first time around. Obviously, it's a bit of a practice, but yeah, you want to play with this a little bit. So yeah, so we're going to go there, move the patch up a bit. Right, okay, I know I'm dithering about here, guys, but bear with me. So that's going to be there. That's tight, and yeah, right, so that's the patch area. So basically, yes, the patch is where I want to chop off. The green area is what I'm going to be swapping out, and the blue area is what we're sampling. Okay, so I'm going to press and hold the generative patch. I'm going to, you don't have to do this bit, but I'm going to generate with settings. Okay, I'm not going to want to do that because it's going to ask me to log in. And here, the reason why I wanted to generate with settings, because you can set the prompt. Now, if you've ever used the Photoshop version of this, or you type in prompts. Now, I believe our default is floor. And to be perfectly honest, I've used this all the time, and it tends to work very well. But if I click OK, what's going to happen now is it's going to extract this area, send it to our server, throw it to the AI bit. They're going to do its magic, throw it back to us, and we're then going to put it inside the image. So let's just wait for what it does. It's very busy. And there you go. So that's now patched out, and that's done an exceptional job. All right, so that's done really well, and that's just that area. So what I'm going to do now then is do the same thing, but I'm going to get rid of this black bit. Now, when we was doing the patching, I don't know if you saw it, and I didn't mention it, and I should have done. It said, did I want to reload the image, yes or no? If you've got no patches there, it doesn't really matter what you say. But I'm going to set another patch here. So I'm going to double click, add a patch, make it a bit bigger. I'm going to set this to a circular, and I'm going to bring this down so it's just outside the area of the area that I want to patch, and then we've got a lot more context around here. So now what I'm just going to do is, I know it says floor, so I don't have to worry about settings, so I'm just going to click this. It says reload original image. Now if I say yes, what it's going to do is not include the patch that we've just created. So it's going to create, it's going to have this shadow in there, which is going to cause the AI to do something silly. So when it says reload original image, if you're stacking patches, say no, because we've got this bit patched, it's good. So let's just keep that in there, and that's going to be part of our image. So let's just see what that's going to do. He says, now, this also works with the master node. So whilst that's doing that, I can tell you that if you were to go, like if you had, say, like, I don't know, 20 nodes, and you go to master node, you could do this with master node, and you would do AI patching for all of the master node. There you go. So that's that, all done and patched. Let's just see what this looks like on output, which is the important bit. So let's just generate, and there we have it. There you go. Now that's not bad. You know, that's no Photoshop work. That's just getting the job done, which is exactly what the tool's for. Okay, now I'm glad that went okay, because sometimes it can put something in that's a bit odd. It doesn't matter. If it does, you can always delete it, or ask for another patch to be generated. But generally speaking, if you get this error, this is why Thomas was so like on not on me, but so about this particular patch, because you want to keep this outside of the black area that could have influenced this sampling, if you like, and then the green area is the bit that we actually want to take out. Okay, so I hope that was clear. But so yeah, so just to recap on that, blue is where we're going to sample or get the context of the image. The green is what we're actually swapping out, and we also have masking where we can feather out as well. Now, to properly or to better show this, what I'm going to do is add a standard patch. So let's just find something else. Oh, I don't know, let's go in the sky. I'm just going to add a patch here. I'm just going to extract this. So this is a standard patch. I'm just going to extract it just to, so really, it doesn't matter because there's no patches underneath this, but I'll say no anyway. It opens up Photoshop. There's my patch. Let's do something to show this. Let's just put a black cross. This happens to be quite a good way of showing the feathering, really. So we're going to save that, and there's our black cross. Right, okay, so there's our patch, and what we've got here is type is none. I could have had a circular. Let's do that, circular, and then we can set the radius and the feathering. Now you can say what this does is help blend a patch. If your patch is not quite right, and there's a slight bit of movement there, I don't know, say if you've got a straight line and where the patch was, and or where you've been edited in it, and you've created like a little bit of I don't know, an artifact in the image, you can actually set the feathering. So let's do that to 20. You can see that it's feathering out there. We can size again of the patch image, and it'll update. There you go. So yeah, that's just something else that we've added to the standard patches. Right, I'm going to stop there and ask Karen, do we have any questions? We've covered I think, most of the anticipated features. So that's the generative patches and the morph. Generative patches work with the master node, so you can patch loads. If you do get a patch that you're not happy with, just delete and do it again. So yeah, Karen, do we have any questions?
Hi. Yeah, we do. So I'm going to try and cover everyone's questions here. First, I want to say to Julian, thanks for your questions. They're a little bit out of scope here, but your first questions, in that there is a feature where we can add math and logic blocks, but this was a feature that was needed for other things, and I think basically you can put formulas in there, and maybe we won't go too much into that. And I'm not quite sure what you mean about the point hotspot, the shows the point hotspot after transition. So we'll get back to that later. And I'm going to move on to Michael's question, where uh, he's wondering, are there any plans to move into things such as 3D planar transitions? And the answer is, we're quite happy with what the transitions are doing right now. And but there's always plans for improvement, and of course that might change. We might improve it in the future, but yeah. And then there's a question here, if basically if you can use basically use stable diffusion locally for this. And I I don't know. I guess you can, because I think we were running it locally at one point. I'm not sure. So, but right now it's only using OpenAI. And yeah, sorry, I'm going through those questions quite quickly, Tom. Martin.
Yeah, no worries. You can.
Um,
I mean, you're doing an excellent job. I'm here supping me drink and thinking I've got 5 minutes. This is great. Carry on.
um, but yeah, so actually, Thomas is going to answer on the forum that question and get back to you on that. And yeah, so we've got a lot going on here, but we'll answer that question on our forum. So look out for that. And Julian's got a good question, which I don't know the answer to, is with the patching, are there any problems with gigapixel images?
I think it's was it a 1024 patch size or something? Oh,
2048. So there, yeah, you have to be careful of
yeah,
those. The,
24.
the
Yeah,
patch sizes are limited, right? They're only uh,
I know some of the
2048.
services. I think because we experimented with a couple of services, and one gave you larger patches than the other. I can't remember which one we ended up staying with, but yeah, it's it's yeah, there's limits. Oh, OpenAI has a limit of 1024 by 1024. Here we go. So yeah.
Okay. Um, let's see. What do we've got here? Yeah, so you want to just you can try, I guess, with the gigapixels, but big gigapixel images, but Istvan, hi Istvan. Um, I met Istvan in a workshop for AI stuff, actually. Um, can you use the AI patch to fix any other parts of the image, as in remove cars? Yes, yes, you can. You can do
Well, I
that.
showed removing me and the wife,
Yeah,
and that was on.
yeah, yeah. Those are pretty big. Yeah. So,
so,
I think,
so
yeah, right.
hang on. What do you mean that's
No, but
pretty big?
no, I
You
mean
having a go at my
they were
girth,
close to
woman, or what?
the
No,
they're close to the lens, so it wasn't like some small thing off into the
no,
distance. It
no.
was a pretty big chunk of the image actually. So, yeah, you just need to. Yeah, but I guess you probably need to play around with how much of that patch is
I think
how.
obviously working with this and with the guys and the team, and just saying, the actual patching area and then the context area is important. You want enough around for it to get information, and then obviously you want the bit where it's going to patch it. So obviously in here, for argument's sake, so the green area inside. So yeah, if you've got context, I mean, as an example, can I just go back to an example, Karen? If I just
Yeah, well, actually, I just want maybe hold up on
right,
that,
okay.
and because I think I know where you might be
I was
going.
just going to go back to
Um,
the patch with me, but
oh yeah,
but
okay, yeah, go ahead.
hang on, I've lost my thread now. Oh, okay, don't worry. I was losing. I just lost my thread. That was all.
Okay, okay, well, um, because Lauren is asking if you can do the same thing with the master node, and I think you have something to show on the master node, on using it with the master node.
I
Think you have a video, maybe?
no, I don't have a video on that. Not the
Okay,
master node.
well,
But having said that, I mean Thomas had one. He showed. I don't have it. But basically, if we were to open this up, you would go to edit master node, point down, look at your patch, set the patch. You'd set the area. Obviously, set the, I don't know, if it's a tripod cap, set the circle. You'd set that so it covers your tripod patch or tripod area, and then you can hit the you would then select all of these. Well, no, you wouldn't, obviously, because if you're in master node you don't have to. Sorry, sorry, master node. Let's get back to that. So yeah, so basically you would then do the generative fill, and it would automatically do every single node. Again, but the good thing about it is if there's one that you don't like, you can just delete it and recall it for that one node. So yeah, it's good. It's good. So that's how we do it. I should have had Thomas's video, really.
yeah, maybe I can bring it up and we can show it or something. But the point is yes, you can use the master node and it can work quite well. So, um, and I think that's basically the rest of the questions. There's one question that's a little bit off topic here that has nothing to do with Pano2VR 7, but the question does come up often where if we can have German video instruction. And well, most people are most of the people using Pano2VR are um, English speaking, so a lot of our stuff is English speaking. But there is a book by Thomas Bradenfeld, and maybe we have some tutorials in German. There are, or maybe I don't know. The question is I don't know, and yeah,
Can I
sorry.
just inject? Aren't most of the YouTube videos we actually have the translation? We have German on that, don't we?
Yeah, those are
Auto
auto-translated.
trans.
So I don't know if the German
Any good or not? But yeah.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good actually. It's not so bad. So, AI is getting better. And so you can use that, but I can understand when you're watching videos and having to read subtitles while you're trying to pay attention to the content of the video is a little bit harder. But that's really off topic and yeah, thanks. If you want to, you can always write to us at support@gardengnome.com, and I think we can move on.
Okie dokie. Right, thank you, Karen. And obviously thank everyone for asking the questions. Right, okay. The next thing that I want to have a look at is the web server, what we've done with the web server. Now, again, these tend to be overlooked, what we do here, because it's part of Pano2VR rather than what the output looks like. But what we've done with the web server is, as you're probably aware, that we have live updates. So if I create an output, you'll see that we've got the live update button running there. And if I change something within Pano2VR, as an example, we'll change the position of the hotspot. If I save this, you'll see that this will live update and change the position of the hotspot. Okay, this also works for the built-in web server with mobile phones and anything else attached to the network as well. Now, we could only do HTTP for a while, but now what's new with the with 7.1 is that the live update now works with HTTPS, which is cool. So what I want to do is go to Tools, Integrated Web Server, open this up, open this up. So this is our web server, and what I'm going to do here, and by magic, now this is what I've been sort of watching and waiting for it to fall over because it's a bit flimsy, but here is my mobile phone plugged into the Mac. And what I'm going to do is go to the camera, and I'm going to look at the QR code, click that, that's going to open up, and you can now see I've got the web server here. I'm going to go to index, and what I'm now going to do is change something here, and let's just get that out of the way and save. And what should happen is, boom, there we go. It's now adjusted that on my phone. Now that's working over HTTPS, so therefore the gyroscope will work and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so I can, so that's quite good. So that's the web server. Now, the other trick that we've got going on here, so let's just make some room. So let's move this out the way. I will bring this back. And let's get rid of this and get rid of this. The other trick that we've got going on is ngrok. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's something that you go to the website, you install it. But what ngrok does is give you a live update with a URL. So you can actually give the URL to someone and they can open up the project on their phone or their tablet or their PC or whatever. It's basically live update over the interweb, which is, yeah, quite cool. So how does this work exactly? Right, well, I've got Pano2VR open. I've got a, let's just open up, I've got a web page, he says. Let's create an output. So I want to see this live update symbol showing. Right, here we go. because I'm happier when I do. And then basically how this is going to work is when you've set up your account. Now the ngrok thing, you actually go to their website, you set up an account, you install their bit of software, and it's a step-by-step. The website is really good, so it's very simple to do. I managed to do this on my own, following the instructions from the website, and yeah. But basically, for the Mac, what I'm going to do is go into the utilities, go into terminal, bring over my terminal window. So this is it. Now, because I've already set all this up, I'm just going to paste in the local host. So my HTTP local host is 8,000. All right. Let's have a look at that. So if I go tools, integrate web server, there it ends with 8,000. Okay. So let's get back to the terminal. So there it is. And now what I'm going to do is now just hit return. Okay. That's not what I'm after. Okay, I've broken it. Right, yes. Yeah. Okay, no, I haven't broken it. What I've done is not included ngrok at the start. There we go, and there it is. So that's now it running. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I like to leave it a second or two, because it comes back with a saying the latency or whatever. So yeah, the latency is 24 milliseconds. Right, when I see this, what you need to do is just copy this bit. This is the URL you can give to anybody. All right, so as an example, he says, I am going to just minimize some stuff just to clear the screen. So this is my local host. All right, but I'm going to open up, say, Firefox, and I'm just going to type in this URL. All right, and there it is. So we're now with the ngrok front end, and it says you're blah blah blah. Do you want to visit the site? Yes, you do. And now you're seeing my web server. Now, as I say, that URL you could have given to anybody. So your customer, as an example. So you would give the URL to the customer. The customer does this, and they'll see the this front end. You can click on the output. You've got the QR code there. Now, what I'll do, because this is actually quite cool, I'm going to bring my phone back in and do the QR code bit again. So let's close that. Get rid of the tabs, open up the camera, QR code there, visit the site, yes. So so my phone's actually just connected via the internet. All right, so I'm going to click the index HTML, and there I'm seeing the project. So let's just do the same here. So it's the index H. So both, this is Firefox. This is, again, this is streaming over the internet. This is not localhost. Yeah, this is the important bit. So your customer could see what I'm seeing now, and your customer says, "Oh, I don't like where that hotspot is. Can we move it, please?" So you can say, "Sure, no problem. Let's move it back down here." And what I'll do is I'll just move that down and save the project. And as we save the project, this will all start to update. He says, there we go. And we've now moved the hotspot down. So it's real time live view over the internet web. Yep. So everybody can see, like your customer can see. So it's going to be great for collaboration and things like that. Okay. Now I'm glad that went okay, because I was dreading that bit. But to be perfectly honest, it was fine. It isn't a difficult thing to do. Now, what I'll probably do is just quickly go to the ngrok website. So if I just go to, oh, hang on. He says, let's go to here. What's going on? Right, okay, don't worry about that. Come on, I want to see a new window. Right, so... Right, I'm also getting the message from Thomas that obviously with the ngrok, it's the same with VR. You can do it in the VR headset. I mean, I just mentioned mobile phones, but basically anything that can connect to a website. So headsets, tablets, phones, you name it, it all works that. But it's also great for testing the VR, in the headset. I mean, if your customer's got their headset on, they're seeing a tour and they think something, is not quite right, or something's the wrong color, you can instantly change it. update it, and then your customer's going to get the update as well. So basically, I've just typed in ngrok. This is their website. You log into it, but basically it's this. You know, you can install from here. Obviously, you need to log in. You can create a free account. It's all free. There is a paid version that gives you far more features, but basically, I'm just using the free account as it says up here, free plan free, and it does everything that we need to do. So it's amazing. It's a good thing to have. Okay. Any questions on that? Because that was a little bit techie, really, but it's one of those things where you may or may not use it, but the facility is there if you do need it. And the most important thing to do is to know that that facility is there if you need it. So, Karen, do we have any questions on that?
No, but I just want to go, oh my God, that's awesome. Little thing. And I don't know, I don't think it's too techy. What do you guys think? And Ishvan said, "Oh, I could open up your QR code with the phone." So that's actually a neat idea.
Yes.
You could be screen sharing, right? And just throw up your, you don't even have to send the link. You could just
The
throw up
QR
your
code,
screen,
yes.
the thing and ask them to take the phone
Well, it's funny because
and
we were speaking about this earlier, saying if I throw the QR code up, should we invite people to do it? And I thought to myself, well, depending, because we've got quite a few people on this webinar, I'm thinking if everybody does that, is my PC just going to go pop? Or I suppose they're going through the ngrok website, but you know, it's I don't know, but yeah, as you say, throw up a QR code, job done.
yeah. Frank just came up with a question. Is it possible to create this ngrok link via a GUI button within Pano2VR? I don't see why not because it's just a link, right?
No, right,
Like,
okay. So this is the clever part about it, is um, well, I say no, yes, but basically what I've done is highlighted on the screen. You can see there in blue. That's the URL. But as soon as I close this terminal and reopen it, it's going to be a different forwarding address. But yeah, it's but that's good about it because it's making it secure. You see, because obviously if you've given someone a link and they've always got it, but as soon as I close this terminal, that's dead, and that's never to be repeated again, I don't think. So every time I start this ngrok, it gives me a different forwarding. But the interesting thing was I was using the non-secure address, but it forwards using the secure address. So again, things like gyro will work and everything will function as it should do. So again, this is really good for the VR headsets, and you know, just to reiterate that really, you could, you know, send this to someone. I mean, obviously on Oculus or the Meta, you can just scan the QR code and then copy that to your Oculus app. Then that can then beam it straight to the headset, and the headset can then open it up. So yeah, it's quite good. It's quite good in that respect. Okay, how are we good? Are we good on this?
I think that's it. I do want to say that in regard to having a GUI for the ngrok stuff is that I guess you could, Thomas was saying you could, but it would require, some scripting. And if we do that, it probably isn't the best solution for everybody.
I mean,
So
at the end of the day, I keep, I do say this quite often. I am not a coder. I know Pano2VR. I know the logic. I'm a logical person, so it just works for me. But I'm not a coder, And Thomas just said to me, he said, "Look, just go to the website, create a free account, and just follow it." And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, it worked. You actually get a little bit of code that you copy and paste into. Everything's literally copy and paste into the terminal, and then you end up with this last little bit of code that you copy and paste into the terminal, and it just fires up. So yeah, it isn't that difficult, and I can put hand on heart and say that. So yeah, all good.
okay, and I just wanted to see. I saw someone just quickly asked, can you see a demo of it used in the VR headset? And in Quest, yeah, you can use it in Quest. We're not set up today
No.
to do a demo of this in VR, but the idea though, we've updated the integrated web server mainly to help with this, to view it directly into in the headset, along with of course your customers. So yeah, you can do that. And going back to the getting a GUI to incorporate this, um, if we were to do that, it would cost money for us, and we would have to charge for it. So I don't know if that's a solution that we
Want to
want,
do? Yeah.
or yeah, okay. So, oh, and thanks for saying hi to everybody. We've got everyone from all over the place.
Right,
Wow.
I've got. Oh, sorry. Can I
Okay.
just jump in?
Yeah. No, sorry.
Before I lose my thread again, I admitted it. Right. Anyway, yeah. Basically, one of the things that I wanted to say with this ngrok thing was, as you know, by default we have auto port numbers. What is going to be very advantageous is if you fix your port number. Basically, if we go back to Pano2VR, go into the preferences and the web server. Ports were set to auto, yeah, or HTTP. So you select HTTPS, and I set port numbers. I've set 8000 for the non-secure and 8001 for the secure. And of course, when it comes to doing the ngrok thing, it just it's the same bit of code that you copy and paste in, because the port number doesn't change because you fixed it within Pano2VR. So that's just a little tip. Okay, what I'm going to do is close this connection. So I'm going to go Control C on the Mac, close the connection, and there we go. Yeah, so that's it. So if I was to initiate it again, I would get a different URL. That URL is now dead. No one can now come into and see my tour. Okay, am I okay to move on to the next thing, Karen? Any more questions, or are we good?
Actually, I just wanted to address Rick's question. He's asking if there's a link to demo that, and I just wanted to quickly ask, do you mean a demo in general to look at in VR? If so, you can go to our website. But to a link to demo the ngrok, well, now you can't, because Martin closed the terminal and that closed the connection. So that connection is no longer valid.
It's a
So it's only at when terminal's running and it's running through the web server, then you can see it. But once that terminal is closed, it is canceled.
It is closed. That's what.
Oh, okay. So Rick's just asking for demos in a Quest. Yeah, sure. Go to pano2vr.com, scroll down, and there's a whole bunch of examples there. And I think all of them are viewable on the Quest. You just have to, yeah, you just go on your Quest, go to the browser, and put in pano2vr.com and look for the examples there.
Yeah. Okay. Right. He says, that's my phone. I'll get rid of my phone. Right. So, let's move on, shall we? Next thing on my list is webp support. Now, Pano2VR has been able to use this for a bit, but you manually had to set webp, and as it wasn't officially recognized, when you created an output, it would and you create an output again, because it didn't really recognize it, it would keep generating the outputs. We no longer do that. We now fully support webp. If you click on the output and click under, let's just close that panel, under image, you'll see that we've now got the checkboxes for JPEG and webp. What does webp do? It's just a different file format, but basically it makes your images or makes the output a lot smaller in file size. If I go to here, for argument's sake, this is the output in JPEG. If we look, it's 332 meg for this tour. The WebP version of this is 231, so basically just shy of 100 meg difference. The actual image quality is, it looks identical. I'm not going to stand here and say it is the same or it's identical, because I really don't know. I've not gone down to the pixel level, but it's it's good. So this is the webp version, and it's fine, absolutely fine. You know, and you've saved yourself 100 meg on the server. The other good thing about this, of course, is if we double click, and he says, what have I got? Select the webp. I think I've got mine set to JPEG at the moment, so what it will do is actually generate a whole new set. Oh no, it didn't. It bang. So yeah, because I already had the webp images in there, it's just built it straight away. It didn't bother remapping or regenerating the images. So that's the webp support, and that's where now to find it. As I said before, what we had to do was go to the advanced tab, and then you would just type in webp at the back here. But now, of course, when you adjust this, it actually adjusts everything for you, the file extensions as well. So it's a lot less hassle. Just select it and go. Right, so that's webp support. The other new little feature that we want to show is standard tags. Now, this is actually, again, it's another. It was on our list of things to do, but I think again it's quite understated. If we go to the user data, you can see that we can add tags. Now, if you're forever building tours with, I don't know, inside, outside, or ground floor, first floor, and you just have to tag everything, what you can do is now add a standard tag to the project. So I'm going to create a couple. I'm going to create an inside tag. I'm going to give it a color, so orange. So inside is orange. I'm going to create another one. So let's go. Come on. Create another one. So let's just call that outside, and we'll give that the light blue. All right. Now, what we'll see here is if we go under the tour and standard tags, you'll now see here that we've now got the command 1, command 2 to set them. So that would be control 1, control 2 for the PC. So basically all I have to do now is select that. So that's an inside one, and I think that was control 1, was it? Yeah, so control 1. So all I've got to do now is just select that control 1, select that control 1, select that control 2, control 2, control 2, control 2. And you can set, do that one. So now we can set the tag. So this now saves, didn't do that one, did I? Yeah, no, not that one. Right, control, control, or option 2. No, I'm going, right, sorry, command 2, yeah. Right, okay, so I've got my tag set. So this makes setting tags really quickly, and of course with the tags you can filter the tour browser to only show the inside tags. I can cross that off. Oh, he says, not having a good day today. Right.
I like that view. Yeah, I like seeing it like that. Yeah, switch it up a little.
Switch it up a little. Right, okay, so basically, whilst we're here then, so you can see we can have the inside or outside tags. The other thing, of course, with tags, we've obviously covered in, and it's been in Pano2VR forever, that if you click on the tag itself, you're just inverting the selection. So you're saying show anything that doesn't have inside, or show or hide everything that's got inside, and that's then showing what's left. So yeah, we're just inverting the selection. Okay, so that's that one. What I want to do is go to window arrangements standard and get back to where I was. There we go. Okay, so that's the standard tags, he says. And whilst I'm here, what else am I looking at? So that was creating those. That's fairly quick. I'm going to go to another project, pinned image. This was something that we were asked about a lot. I know I'm sort of ducking and diving a little bit here, but this is going to be good. Let's open this up. And what was asked about pinned images is that we had two options, either to open let's get rid of that, open them 100%. So let's go to the viewer, select image. Now that we're in image mode, that's the one I wanted, we can just drag and drop that in and pin an image. That's it, done. Now the options we had before was on the click mode was to pop out and pop out 100%. But we had quite a few people say, well, can we change the size that we pop out? We can now do that. We can now change the scaling. So we've got pop out set. So let's just create an output, and there it is. And pop out, it's 100%. It fills the window, which is fantastic because it's all nice and responsive. Brilliant. Okay. But what we can now do is say, bring that down to say 80%. Okay. So let's just save and just recreate the output. And now when we pop it out, it's 80%. But again, fully responsive at 80%. So that was one of the things that we were asked, and we've now done. And of course, the other little option there is hide when pinned. We can also have a hand cursor there. I believe we had this in an earlier version. I can't remember. That's the thing with working with the version for so long. You tend to forget what was in previous. But here you can see it's there, and it only becomes visible as and when. This has actually been used in conjunction with a point hotspot, because what you can do is create the image so it's a lot smaller. As an example here, we can set the field of view to say, I don't know, let's set it to 4, and let's just put it in the center of the door so I know where it's going to be. And if you can imagine, you have a point hotspot graphic here, you could click that and you could get this as being your image pop up for your point hotspot. You know, even though it's nothing to do with the point hotspot, it's the point hotspot would just be there for a visual representation or a visual indicator where you would click, and you can see it's a little small. It's a lot smaller now, the hand area, because we've made it to field of view of only 4. There you go. So that's actually quite a good trick and quite a good feature that we've added. All right. So that's pop out, show, so we can obviously change the percentage of pop outs and things like that. What I want to do now is look at VR. Now, rather than setting up headsets and things like that, what we did was I'm going to explain it, but Karen kindly created a video, and so that's what I want to look at now. Okay, and go through a couple of things. So we can close this all down, and I'm just going to go to a little video, and here it is. Now, this is going to be, this is the Oculus Quest 3, I think. But what we want to show here is our new hand tracking. It's for the Quest 3 and the Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro doesn't come with any handsets, so it's all hand tracking or visuals as far as I know. I've not actually played with one myself, but I know it's definitely hand tracking. So let's just play the video and walk you through it as we talk through it. So this is Karen now. You can see she's going to pinch, and we're now inside a panorama. We're actually in the immersive mode, and there you can see the hands. This is what you're going to see now inside when you're in the immersive mode. Let's just play that. So as she's moving her hands and her fingers, they all respond as well. Okay, the other thing is Karen's just hidden her hands. As she's hidden her hands, the stare spot then shows in the middle of the screens. When the hands are showing, you don't see that. When the hands are hidden or out of the headset's view, if you like, you get the stare navigation. So you would point at a hotspot and then you can use it. But with the hands back in, what you get is the two like pointers that you get with the hand ones. Here you can see, I'll stop the video there again. From the hand, you've got the pointer goes onto the point hotspot. If you watch Karen's fingers, what she'll do is she'll create a pinching motion, and then that changes the panoramas. There we go. So this is all part and parcel now of 7.1. It's the hand tracking. The other thing that we brought in as well with the hand tracking is the pinch and rotate. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but what we've had in Pano2VR 6 and 7 is with the controllers with the Oculus, you had like joysticks. And say for argument's sake, you're sitting in a chair, you're looking at a 360 image. Now your neck movement is going to be less than 180 degrees either side. So if you're wanting to see behind you, you'd have to either be on a swivel chair or stand up. But what we gave you was the ability that if you nudged with the joystick was to nudge the image around. We've brought that again with hand tracking. You just pinch and drag. So Karen's going to show it and just demonstrate this now. And as you drag it around, it will keep flipping around or jerking around until you get to where you want. and then you can just let go and it will stop. So you've got, again, whilst the hand tracking's going on, you can rotate the panorama if you really don't want to be spinning around and doing the whole immersive and looking behind you thing. Okay, so that's with the hand tracking. We've also got new menus. Now I'm going to stop it there. You can see what we had before was a standard menu button that when you looked up you saw it, and it was very, I don't know, you couldn't adjust it, you couldn't do anything with it. It was just a graphic that we got. Now with 7.1 you can use whatever graphic you want. You can replace the graphics. I'm going to go into a skin in a second and show you where this all happens. We've also added the exit button as well. So here you can see Karen's going to pinch that. We've now got the menu, she can close it, and now she's going to come out of the VR experience. There you go. So that's the video. What I want to do is go back into the tour here, so let's get back in and show you where these now live. So if we go back into the output, VR output, let's have a look at our default skin. You can see here we've got these containers. We've got open skin and closed skin, and if we open these up you can see that both the open and close show the exit VR button, and obviously you've now got your open and close buttons here. The actions are really simple: mouse click, full screen, VR visibility show. So yeah, you can show that basically this is showing the skin and this is hiding the skin, and then you've got this these two buttons here, so you can you've got the same exit VR button on either of those, so it doesn't matter what state that the menu's in. When you look up you can exit out of it, but this is just, again, it's a standard exit VR and then exit the skin. Now these actions have actually been there for a while, but now in 7.1 they're actually working, but yeah, you can now go in and change your graphics as well. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention about VR is if we go back to the VR menu, in the output you can see that one, you can change the skins. We've also got the include and the polyfill. Basically, quickly explaining, iOS doesn't understand web VR, so polyfill is like an interpreter, so iOS can understand it. iOS does weird and wonderful things. If you don't want to include iOS, just deselect that and it won't work with iOS anymore, but it will always work with anything that supports web, well, I call it XR now, so web XR, so all the headsets will still work, everything will still work other than iOS, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, so we've got the skins, we can change the skins, we can edit the skins, we've got the skin configuration. The floating menu, we can deselect that. If you build a project and you've got no menu, what used to happen is when you look up, you still see the menu. You can deselect that, so if you've got a single node project and look up, you no longer see the menu. And we can now change the menu position either at the top, which we've just seen, or we could change it at the bottom, so if you look down you've got the menu there. It depends where your point of interest and where you're looking. If you're in a low position looking up all the time, then perhaps having the menu when you look down where there's nothing of interest to show the menu, and you can do things there as well. The other thing that we've also put, again, we've listened to our customers, they've said when you've got no skin we have spinny globes. Okay, now the spinny globes, some people say they're too big, can you make them smaller? We've now set a scale on skinny the spinning globes. Also with the spinning globes is if you have a skin with hotspots, as long as you don't have a node hotspot, so ht_node, so let's go in here. So here you can see we've got an ht_node. So we see this particular hotspot in the VR experience. If we deselected this, you'd still see all the other hotspots, but then you would have a spinny globe where this was. Okay, so the again, before 7.1, if you had a skin, the spinny globes would just disappear. Now you can still have the spinny globes if you've got a skin and menus and everything else. So yeah, that's another big improvement on that. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about with the VR stuff. So we've got new menus, pinch, drag to rotate, hand tracking, and the spinny globes, which I've just covered. Is there any questions on that, Karen, before I move on?
There's a few questions. So I just wanted to comment on when you are. I made another video using the spinning globes, but if you are not using a skin and you have the spinning globes, you might not have the exit VR button. And an easy way to get out using your hand tracking is to look at your left hand and pinch, and that'll give you a menu, and it'll take you right out of the immersive view. Federico, the videos were made using Quest 3. And so going back up, let's see. Is there any noticeable difference in resources versus CPU or memory between pings and webp? I have the answer here, not from my own brain. Thomas is saying webp is a bit more resource intensive, so to decode on an older CPU. But since it's a video format, the code is really highly optimized, and it might even be faster than JPEG on modern CPUs. So it's a good question there.
Wow. Yeah. But
yeah.
Take me to school.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
I know. Yeah. See, that's a. Is WebP widely supported?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
right,
that's why
yeah.
we held off until now. I think there was you know, if you look at the top browsers, so Edge, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge and Safari obviously are native browsers to their relative operating systems, so they support it, and of course Firefox and Chrome do as well. So there might be some odd browsers out there that don't, but I haven't found one yet. Is the answer to that?
Julian mentioned that maybe Internet Explorer, but
if you're using that, then good luck. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. No, doubt it very much.
Marco has a good question. Where can you see the remaining tokens for the generative?
You know what? That was something I missed. You're quite right. You're right. If I'm going to open this up and see what happens, and you can see tokens remaining under here. Now I've got an odd number here. That's because Thomas was playing with my account, and I've ended up with half a token. Don't know how I've ended up with half a token, but I've got half a token. But you can see there's a token count there. So you should.
Yeah.
All right.
Right
so
there.
That's right there. It's also in the cloud dashboard. I'm not sure that I want to actually open that.
That's okay. I think that's enough. We can see it in here, and if you open up your account on the cloud dashboard on our website, you would see it there as well under the tab subscriptions.
Yeah, I just can't remember what information you see if I open up my dashboard, and I might, and because my screen is being beamed to the big wide world, I don't want to give everyone my passwords and things, but I really can't remember if it's secure or not. But certainly here you can see, just open up the cloud browser, and boom, it's there.
Okay, so we've got we've got like 3 questions all at once. If Object2VR to VR mode is in Pano2VR, or can we have Object2VR in Pano2VR? And Object2VR is not yet working in VR yet.
No.
So eventually this will come. Eventually. Patience.
All right, okie dokie.
I think that we'll get there, Federico. Promise. I think that's it. I did see a question in the chat. No, I didn't. Or did I? Oh, yeah, that was the question. Okay, right. Good. I think we can move on to...
I'm looking at the time. I've got one section to cover now. I mean, there's loads of stuff that's in for 7.1. And I've actually got a section at the bottom of my notes, smaller things to mention if we have time or we need to fill. Well, we didn't have time and we don't need to fill, but there's one particular section which I feel is worth covering. And I'm going to start off with basically just popping into the skin, really. So let's do that. Let's pop into the skin. But before I do, one of the things was safe area. Now this is important for mobile phones, especially today's mobile phones where you've got you've got like a camera and a blob at the top of the screen and the rest of the screen goes around it. you can have situations there that when you turn the phone on its side, you could have part of your skin being hidden behind it. Now Pano2VR for a while has been able to, let's just go to the HTML tab and go in here, is ignore safe area. Now, so it's safe area is turned on by default. Let's just see what that looks like, he says. So let's just open this up. Let's, because I do have my, let's cancel that. I do have my phone still attached, so we can see it live. So let's go Tools, Integrated Web Server, open that. Go to, oh, did I create an output? Probably not, so let's do that. Right, so there's an output, so I've got something to see. Right, so there it is, there's the output. Let's go to my phone and let's bring my phone in so we can see it. There we go. Let's go to the QR code and go to the tour. Right, so this is it by default. You can see that I've got skin either side, so here and here, and on my iPhone I've got a camera and a black blob at the top here. But if I rotate the phone sideways, you'll see that it's come in. It's the black blob is going to be here now, and it's hang on, I'm going to change to a different skin, I think. Let me just choose a Venice skin. Let's just see what that's going to look like. Yes, there we go. This is the one I want to show. So let's get to, this is what it's going to look like. So this is what the skin looks like normally. And where is my phone gone? Have I lost my phone? I've lost my phone. Let's go to QuickTime phone. It's there. Here it is. Come on. Right, here we go. So there's my phone back. Let's make that a little bit smaller. So this safe area then, so you can see I've got the buttons either side. If I rotate my phone, you'll see what happens is that these come in because the camera is going to be here. So the image is going to go behind it, but what it does is it brings it in, okay, to stop you covering. So this button here is no longer, or this button is no longer going to be in that area where you've got the camera, or where part of the skin would be missing. But what I wanted to show you is if I go ignore safe area, click OK, and then go into the Venus skin, we've adjusted all of our skins, our default skins, to have this. But you've got a container here, and we've called this container a safe area. And if we look in the in this container, it has all the elements that we want to show when we're on a mobile. Now this container has a unique setting. That if you scroll down, it's got use for safe area, and as soon as you do that, you lose all the size. It just fills the screen. All right, and what this does is you build your skin within inside this container, and the idea is with this turned on, if you rotate the phone, it is going to again use this safe area. So this is with it turned. So the safe area turned off in the or ignore safe. Say that again. Ignore safe area turned on in the HTML template. So this is purely now what working with the skin. So you can now see that it comes in because we're right at the edge now. Okay. So with that turned off, it brings it in. So this now is a lot longer. If we can take what it looks like on the desktop, you can see we've got very little gap here either side. But on the mobile phone, it brings it in because obviously the camera would be sitting there and the image would be behind it. So that's the safe area. Okay, right. I hope that's explained enough. But yeah, but all of our default skins have got that. And if you want to use this and utilize it yourself, basically, you would just add a container. Let's just do that. So here the container's got all the size and everything else, but as soon as you select safe area, it will automatically fill the circumference of the skin, so it'll fill the window, and you build your skin in there, and this will then initiate the safe area. Okay, that's actually quite a good one really, because of obviously mobiles now have screens that wrap around cameras and speakers and microphones and everything else. Right, okay, so that's the safe area. What else is in the skin? Well, what's another good one? Let's go to a different skin. Let's go to a skin here, this one, because this is quite cool. What I want to show you is the inherit for the mouse. So what I've got here is 3 text boxes. And what I'm going to do is, if we have a look down the cursor, we used to have just a checkbox saying yes or no. All right. But what we can do now is actually, with the inherit, is do exactly what it says. If I set the top text box to the hand cursor, let's just have a look in the skin preview. You'll see that all the text boxes now have inherited that. So when you're building hotspots, you just basically set the hand cursor to the hotspot template, and all the sub elements will now take that. So that's a real time saver for doing that. The other thing we want to show you with 7.1, let's get rid of that, is the actions. So let's just grab a rectangle just to show you. If we open up the actions now, what we've done is organize them so you don't have a long list of actions. There, it's a reduced list, but it's now got sub-menus. So under mouse click, you've got mouse, so you can have mouse click is something we often use, so therefore that is in that menu straight away. But the other mouse actions like double click, pressed, mouse enter and mouse leave, they're now in sub menus. This is reducing this menu, which allows us to either add some more things in the future, or it's just making it far neater. All right, so that's the actions, and we've also got a lot of new actions in here as well, and some of them are really cool. As an example, we've got player settings. Now there are actions all over the place that we've added. I say all over the place. We've got new actions within 7.1, and they will they will show themselves as as we gradually go through I suppose webinars or people play with it. But this player setting one is actually quite cool. You can not player settings, is it player settings? I forget now. Did I open up the right one? Let's have a look at the so player mouse click, trigger click. Right, hang on, I've got to make sure that I've got the right version open. I'm sure I have, but let's just make sure, because I could have broken it all. Bear with me 2 seconds just to open it up. I'll just take that off screen a second just to verify something. I don't want to be showing stuff.
Did you mean change margins?
Yeah,
or
no,
is that
yeah,
what
no, it's all right. I'm just making sure I got the right build open. That was all right. So okay. So yeah, as an example, then, if I create the output with the new actions, we can change the margins, as Karen just said. So this is what the project is doing. It's bringing in a map, but not just bringing in a map and sliding it, but we're also changing the margin of the output as well. And what I just wanted to bring to your attention was this new set of, so hang on, so we go mouse click and player settings. Here's player settings, player settings, player settings.
On the bottom.
Yeah, change margins. Here we go. I was having, I said to you earlier about I can see something but can't see it. I'm having one of those.
Yeah,
I'm having one of those moments again. Right.
Yep.
So change margins. Right. So this is it. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this is because it's such a cool effect. You've just seen it, but you just select which margin you want to adjust. So on the left margin, and how many pixels do you want to bring it out by? A transition time. We've got the easing function, and do you want a delay on it? I'm not going to go too far on that, but what it does do is change the margin. But we also have another cool trick in the skin editor, and that's the let's just add a text box there just for something to add a, so mouse click, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing what I wanted to see. Player scenes. Oh, I've lost it. Right, okay. But basically, what the action is, he says, is player mouse click. So that's the source. Player mouse click, it's the source. That's why I'm not looking under the wrong thing. Okay, so player mouse click. So let's just do mouse click here. What this does is it's click actions within the player. All right. So there was a few there. So I'm trying not to confuse you. I know I'm going backwards and forwards and I've probably just confused everybody. But basically what this allows you to do is click in the player to activate something. So I can click and drag and I can click a hotspot. All right. But if I click the player, I can cause the map to hide. So I can pull the map up, click the player, and it will hide. All right. Now, just to quickly how I've done that was using that particular action, and what I did was say click trigger click self, so it's actually trigger clicking the hide and show map button. The hide and show map button, by the way, is using several options actions. It has a variable that's basically set to false. When it's set to false, you will trigger this action, and its own action. These will only work when the variable is set to false. When you click it, this will then toggle it to true. When it's set to true, only these actions will then work. And we're doing that by the action filter. And here is the action filter. So when it's set to true, only those particular actions will work. Hence why on the one button, we can click it and get the margin to come out and the map to slide out. And when we click it again, it can go back again. In fact, if I was to get rid of the action filter here, what we'd be able to do is, because it's set to trigger click, I could just click it to open and close the map. I wouldn't have to use the button at all. And you can still click and drag. And, you know, this is just one action. I think it's a pretty cool action, hence why I'm highlighting it here. There are loads of cool actions within 7.1. And as I said, hopefully, as and when we do more webinars and people play with 7.1, they'll find them. And yeah, it's feature packed. What can I tell you? Anyway, I think that's me. I think we've covered everything, and yeah, we've gone a bit over time, but hey ho, I think it's worth it. Any questions before we wrap it up, Karen?
There's one question here, but I want to say that last trick that you showed was very cool, and I was wondering, would you be willing to share that project on the forum?
If I can build another one and put on the forum, because it's the skin, really,
or just something.
Yeah,
because enough people ask or want to have a map that comes out, and this is an excellent example, and I think it's also very cool. And
I'm just going to put that variable back equal. So it only the idea is that action filter just stops it from being able to be activated when it's not. So you have to open it, but then you can use the button to either close it or just trigger, or just click in the Pano to close it. But yeah,
nice.
Anyway,
and there you show off 2 new features in one project. That's very cool. Yes. So let's see. The one question that is being asked currently is, when will this current version come out of beta? Do we have a timeline yet? No, soon. We hope to be out of this beta very soon. And the more people play around and tell us what's going on, the faster maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, it has got a lot of features, and we're going through them, and you know, it's So the more people play with it, as Karen's just said, the more people that play with it and report back anything, and as soon as it's stable enough, then that would be great. But yeah, at the moment, I wouldn't like to say anything, Karen.
No, I just want to say, and one thing to note is we won't add any more features. So it's already, the features are there, and when we do release it, it'll just be all bug fixes. So yeah, first we have to find all the bugs.
I mean, it's still yet to find all the features.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, that's another thing I wanted to say was, thanks for showing the margin, change margin, and the trigger click, or the player click actions, because I don't know how many people would find those really quickly, and they can be quite powerful. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
As you saw, I
okay.
struggled, but then I was just having one of those moments where actually it's a source action and not an action, and it was a source, and I was looking under actions for it, and yeah, yeah, let's just leave it like that. But yeah, no, it's the thing is, you're sort of using. I mean, we've been testing this, and it's almost like muscle memory now, just clicking. And when someone says, "Where'd you find it?" You go, "Yeah, good question. Let me open it." But yeah, no, it's yeah, we've got there's loads more still in there. So yeah, it's
And I also wanted to remind everyone, if you are playing with this and you're having issues, or yeah, you find a bug, you can write to us at support@gnome.com, and we will get back to you, most likely Martin. But that's a good place to put things. We do read the emails, we go through every single one, and yeah, and you can send us a link to your projects or something like that
if
to
it's
download,
if
and
it's a
they're really
bug,
helpful.
and you feel it's a bug, then always what's worth attaching is the support package. Um, Generally the support package is found under the help create support package, and you can, I mean, the default is to send us the project file and the skin, which is 9 times out of 10 what the problems are. Something's in there or something's amiss. The thing is, because we're dealing with people that are bug testing version 7, or not bug but testing version 7, sometimes it could be just how somebody's done something, they've just generally done something wrong, or it's actually a bug. But with this, we can see your skin, analyze it, and that will get us to the fixes quicker. So if you could, and also the other thing is as well, which is a really good one, is what browser that you're using. I think the support package tells us like the important stuff, but I'm not sure if it covers which browser. But yeah, if you can just drop that in the note as well, and that'll help us to get to these things quicker. And the quicker we can do it, the quicker it can come out of beta. So yeah.
And I have one more tip. You can run the stable version of 7.0.10 and the beta version side by side on your computer. You just rename the executable, and you can run them side by side. But then don't get confused like we do, and we don't know which version we're
Well, this is
running.
why I took it off screen, because yeah, it's like we're testing versions, and yeah. Sadly, my Mac has lots of versions on there, and sometimes I have to wipe it clean, and yeah, because someone will write in and say I've got version 3, and although version 3 is very very old, we will still try and help. So once I have to install version 3, and yeah, it's my machine can get messy. Anyway, I'm done. Um,
Okay, good. Me too. Let's call it a
yeah,
day.
absolutely,
Thanks everyone for joining us. It
absolutely.
was great to see you all.
Thanks everyone, and until next time, whenever that will be, but we will announce that. But anyway,
Yeah,
goodbye from me.
for sure. Yeah. Bye.